Good morning. Did I wake everybody up? Everybody's still asleep. This is Houston. Everything is slow in Houston. So if you didn't know that. We're going to get started. We're going to let everybody get inside. The mayor will be here in about 5 minutes, and we want to stay on schedule out of respect for his schedule. He's only got about 30 minutes, and then he's going to have to leave. My name is Terry Smith. I'm the local president of NOMA here in Houston. It was tough for me to get up this early. I usually don't get up this early. But for NOMA, I'm making the exception. It's a great occasion for me coming up in Houston. This is the reddest state in the nation, just in case you all didn't already know that. And I'm sure a lot of you are coming from blue states, so sometimes it can be lonely here. It's the inside joke. We may have some red folks out in the crowd, I guess. But welcome to Houston. Houston has its own flavor that we're very proud of here. A lot of you may know of our most proud native Houstonian. Who might that be? Wow, and we have young people in the crowd. Tracy, show them who our most proud native Houstonian is, will you?
Hey, where you got it? I'm the hottest.
Does that answer your question?
There, know when they see you rolling them polars around it.
All right. Still don't know who that is? Beyonce, that's right, that's right. Did that wake everybody up? Everybody up now? No? Okay, I have more. We have other native Houstonians, not as well known nationally. Tracy, let's play another. This used to be my theme song. Anybody know who this is? We have a prize for the winner.
Welcome to the land where it just don't stop. Drums, pop, tops, drops in the front end hop. Paint, flop, screens on that can bed in the song.
All right, cut it. Anybody know who that is? Whoever said Scarface, you gotta leave now. That's Fat Pat. Okay. All right, we'll do one more. So when everybody goes back, you're all adopted Houstonians. That's the goal here, okay? One more, Tracy.
Southside. That's just Southside.
This is kind of old school. I see a lot of new faces in the crowd, so.
Texas from the south, and Louisiana, and Mississippi from the south, Atlanta.
See, we would all been up dancing. It's conservative, I guess. The conservative architects, conservative people. But anyway, real quickly, you know, I don't know who is that. Lil Kiki. I thought we had a Paul Wall song back there. Did we have a Paul Wall, Tracy? Let's hit a Paul Wall. How about that? One more. We know Paul Wall, right? No? Yeah. I got a who are these people? Wow. What the? You know what? Well, there's a test after this, so when you go back. Tracy, we got any more? Let's play one more and we'll wake everybody up and then we'll get moving.
Front and back, and side to side. Front and back, and side to
UGK?
front and back, and side to side.
Never let hoe ass
Okay,
niggas
ready?
rock.
That wasn't a clean version. Wow, okay. Leave now. Whoever you are, leave now. Or see me after the breakfast. That's a better answer. But anyway, no, I'm very proud to have all of you here. Welcome to H-Town. When I started in the profession, I started at a firm in 1993, and that firm was founded in the 1940s, and believe it or not, I was the first African-American hired at that firm. So, it's been somewhat of a lonely ride. There's not a lot of us here, sole practitioners, that is. And so to see all of you here is very, very, very exciting. For me personally, I actually went to high school right down the street. So I see the mayor is here. We're going to move it along. Krista? It's me. Oh, you're going to, Antoine. So Antoine, why don't you come on up and introduce the mayor?
Good morning, everyone. Mayor Sylvester Turner was elected mayor of Houston on December 12th, 2015 to serve a 4-year term beginning on January 4th, 2016. Mr. Turner was born and raised in the Acres Homes community in Northwest Houston. His parents moved to Acres Homes in 1954, the year Mayor Turner was born. Mr. Turner attended neighborhood public schools until forced integration came to Houston, and he was bused to Klein High School. After a predictably rocky start, the student body adopted to its newest enrollee. And Mr. Turner was later elected president of the student body and graduated as its valedictorian. Continuing on with his educational success, he graduated from the University of Houston and Harvard Law School before joining the law firm of Fulbright and Jaworski. He later founded the Houston law firm of Barnes and Turner in 1983. In 1988, Mr. Turner was elected to the Texas House of Representatives to serve the people of House District 139 in Northwest Houston. He served until his election as mayor, working on the House Appropriations Committee for 21 years and serving as Speaker pro tem for 3 terms. He was appointed to several budget conference committees to help balance the state's budget and served on the Legislative Budget Board. As mayor, and as many of you have come to know, he's also been a hero in his community for leading the entire region after Hurricane Harvey. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce our mayor, Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for the gracious introduction, and certainly Terry and all of you. Let me say good morning to all of you. Good morning. Oh, hell. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be with you. Breakfast looks pretty good.
We get you some, Doctor.
I assume it tastes pretty good. Y'all brought the brother up and didn't feed him. Don't tell me that, Doc. I'll leave this podium and go sit right there on that chair. But let me welcome you to the city of Houston. Let me just get a show of how many are from outside the city of Houston? How many? Oh, all right. How many of y'all want to stay in the city of Houston? I can get you registered right now to vote. There's an election coming up in a couple of years, So, look, I want to welcome you to the city. It's a city in which I was born and reared, and in fact, I still have the privilege of still living in the same community in which I was born and reared. On the northwest side of town, Acres Home. It's a community of a lot of good folk. You're not going to find the big fancy homes and stuff, but they're just good people. Yes, and this is a can-do city, and I don't say it based on what I heard. I say it based on what I know. When you come up in a family of 9, and where neither one of your parents graduated from high school, and I don't say that in a negative sense, because they did one heck of a job in rearing all 9 of their kids. And then my dad died of cancer when I was 13, and my mom was a maid at the old Rice Hotel that still exists downtown. and would get us ready to go to school. And then she would catch the next bus, because she never learned how to drive, and go and clean up other people's rooms, and then at the end of the day come back and take care of her 9 kids. Where you can come out of that sort of a household and still today be the mayor of the 4th largest city of the United States of America. I've been very, very blessed. And many of you know, look, when you come out of a family and there are 11 of you, and there are only 2 bedrooms, and your mom and dad take one, until you can't sleep in there with them. So that means the rest of us, you only got 1 other bedroom, so the living room at night turns into a bedroom. And then you got 1 kitchen that only holds 6 at a time. But my daddy insisted that all of us had to be in there at dinner time. We said, hell, there's only 6 that can sit at the table. He said, the rest of y'all can wait. It'll be all right. And then after a period of time when he thought you should have finished, he would come in and tap you on your shoulder and say, you 6, get up. It's time for the others to come to the table. And he meant that. That's just the way it is. But having said all of that, I still live in the same neighborhood now, even as mayor, which, I don't tell everybody doesn't have to do that. You can go up, make a whole lot of money, go wherever, that's cool. But for me, it was my way of saying to the folk in my area that we are all in this together, and that you could still grow up in this same community where you don't have the quality grocery stores, where they closed many of the neighborhood schools, and you can still succeed. And now it is my opportunity of working with others to build a city that attends to the needs of those communities that have been overlooked, underserved, under-resourced for a long period of time. To build complete communities where people don't feel like you have to leave your community and go over there in order to partake in the American dream. And that's where architects and others can be of very much assistance as we look at communities that have been overlooked and help design a community with them in mind that will provide them with the improvements and the amenities that they rightfully deserve, and do it in such a way that we don't force them out, but give them the things that they rightfully need. So we're focusing on building complete communities in the city of Houston. Harvey came and dropped a lot of water, 27 trillion gallons of water on the region, some places as much as 50 inches of water. And what it ended up doing is that for people, for groups that were already on the margins, it just added another layer on top of them. So we're paying special attention to people in these communities to make sure that we don't leave them behind, and we bring them up. It's kind of coming at a pretty good time because we've got a capital improvements and public improvement bonds on the ballot, Terry, in November, that will provide funding for a lot of parks and libraries and multi-service centers and command centers. And of course, all of those buildings, capital projects, will need engineers and architects, contractors along with them, because that's critically important in attending to those needs. As we look at buildings that were submerged, public buildings that were submerged from Hurricane Harvey, the question now is, how do we design these buildings as we go forward so that they can better withstand another storm that we know is coming, and how we can make them much more resilient. Some of these buildings had all of the electrical equipment in the basement on the first floor. And so when that rain came, it just put them out of business. And so as we move forward, we have to, in our designing and in our construction, we have to be a lot more resilient. And that's going to require the assistance of professionals, architects, and engineers as we go forward. But I do want to thank people from across the country that provided assistance and aid to the people in the city of Houston, from Austin, San Antonio, Arlington, Fort Worth, El Paso, and other cities in the state of Texas, and then from cities from all across the country from as far away as Boston or Atlanta or LA, and in between Denver. I want to thank them for providing assistance. And as assistance has poured into our Houston area, and we still have many people that are in need. A week and a half ago, even as of yesterday, we are sending pallets of supplies to areas like Puerto Rico at the same time. The whole notion and what I've said, as we meet the needs of people in our city, we can still share what we have with others who find themselves in need. And this city will be blessed if we continue to be a blessing to someone else, even when there is need on our part. So that's what we will continue to do. We sent some things out to California for them, for those individuals who are battling the fires out there, and we'll continue to do that. Now, that's not to say we don't have tremendous needs here. We do. But in the city of Houston, this is a can-do city. We can make things happen. We won't just stay where we are. We will be competitive even as we fight to rebuild, and we will rebuild. And then at the same time, we are preparing. When I go back to City Hall in a little bit, I'm going to look at the final draft as we compete for that Amazon project. All right. $5 billion in a capital improvement, yes, and about 50,000 jobs. There is no better place. Well, I know most of you are from some other city. And your cities are great. I have no doubt in your mind you have some tremendous, you come from some great cities. But yes, sir. Henry Thoreau wrote that there's no greater force than an idea whose time has come. This is just Houston's moment and Houston's opportunity, and so we're going to compete for that as well. I know, other cities, Boston, Chicago, all of those other cities are going to compete, But we are the fourth largest city. In due time, we're going to pass Chicago in size. That's just a matter of time. The New York Times even wrote that New York City is in Houston's rearview mirror. And even one report came out that city of Houston is the best city for minorities in terms of opportunities, even surpassing Atlanta. And let me just say this, I have a limited period of time to be the mayor of this city. And in the limited period of time, we're going to push at an aggressive pace to make sure that the opportunities exist for people from all walks of life. And we are the most diverse city in terms of population of any city in the country. But it's also important when it comes to business opportunities that we be the most diverse in terms of business opportunities. And everybody wants to have a seat at the table, and everyone wants to participate in the economic engine. So I can go on and on and on. That's what happens when you don't feed a brother before you bring him up to talk. The brother just keeps, and I tell you, I'm talking to this brother down below. He ain't stopped with that plate at all. I tell you, man, you remind me of my brothers. They say, is it good? Is that right? You learn how to do it? All right. Well, look, continue to enjoy. Now you need to leave this area and go over to the Acres Home area for the Burns barbecue. Come on now. You can go to all these other fancy places, but come to my hood. Yes, sir. Where, it ain't the fanciest looking building in the world, but the food is damn good. Did I say that? The food is pretty good. The food is pretty good. But look, thank you for having me. Welcome to the city of Houston. If folk are rude to you, they from New York. If people don't talk to you, they from Chicago. And if people act like they all of that, they're from LA. But in this city, we recognize that there's nobody too tall, nobody too high that you cannot talk to. If folk don't say hi, they are not from this city. If the cops are not friendly, they don't work for us. They don't, they're not from here. And if people don't extend a helping hand to the least, they just haven't understood that if you want to be the greatest, you got to be a servant. And if you're a good servant, God will bless you and take you to a higher level. Enjoy your stay in Houston, and welcome.
Now, before the mayor leaves, Mayor, we know you got a tight schedule. Before you leave, obviously we want to thank you for coming and visiting with us. We called you and you came. Now you've talked up Houston so well. It sounded like you were asking everybody to stay. We already have enough architects here, Mayor. So Sunday morning, I'm expecting all of them to get on the first thing smoking out of Houston. So, no, that's a joke. That's a joke.
You can't do it all.
Okay, well, we can try. But anyway, Mayor, we got a little token for you. No, we don't have any more wall space probably on your wall. But on behalf of National Organization of Minority Architects, we want to thank you as our breakfast keynote speaker at the 45th Annual NOMA International Conference and Exposition. Your expertise and participation significantly contributed to the success of the conference. Dated 13th of October, Brian Hudson, our president, Terry Smith, local president.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian. Very, very much. Oh, I can't. Now, you know there's a baseball game tonight. I can't leave without saying that. Anybody here from New York? Yeah! Go who? I need to get your name. You sounding like a Q. Are there some Q's in the house? Any Kappas here?
Come on, Dad.
Any Sigmas?
Yeah, right next to you, bro.
Any Alphas in the house?
They left yesterday.
Well, let me just say this. In 1906, there were 7 jewels that created the rest of you all.
Well,
Tracy, cut the mic.
Now the president said that you have already overtalked yourself. In the city of Houston, I can't speak for these other cities. Alpha's run this house. You're in Alpha's territory. And Alpha's run this house. But the rest of you are always welcome, because my daddy said, we make room for others. But tonight, in Minute Maid Stadium, when we face the Yankees, let me just say this to you as I walk out of here. We face Harvey, and Harvey couldn't dampen our spirit and keep us down. We shall face the Yankees tonight. They shall not keep us out of the World Series. They are coming through to go back home. We're gonna give them some Burns barbecue. We're gonna feed them nice. We're gonna treat them right. But at the end of the day, we're gonna turn off those lights. But I want a good series, though. You know, I want them at least to win one game. Because we want to be hospitable. We don't want to just, you can't just spank the Yankees and send them home. So we want them to at least win. No. Now, I don't want them to win nothing. Ain't no use me lying. Lord, ain't gonna strike me down. But enjoy the night. Y'all leave when?
We're over Saturday.
Oh, y'all leaving on Saturday?
Saturday night is the awards done. Sunday morning, everybody. Some of these folks leave.
Oh, Terry told me to host a big function at my house for y'all on Sunday, but y'all leaving, okay. Next time, come and check us out. Thank y'all for having me.
Mayor, we're going to let the Alphas run things until you're not the mayor anymore. And then we're going to put the Kappas in their rightful place back in front. So we're ready to go.
So I just need to call order and then turn over somebody. Call the order. Okay. This is going to be a hard act to follow, so I'm going to keep this real short. I'd like to call the general meeting for 2017's fourth quarter board meeting, and that was yesterday, annual meeting to order. And we would do so by approving the 2016 annual meeting minutes.
So moved.
It's been moved, is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any, call to vote? Aye. Ooh, man, the mayor sucked up. Can we, can we bring the mayor back? Because you guys are kind of a little low key. All in favor accepting the minutes? Aye. Thank you. Any abstentions?
There we go.
Always is. So. You abstain? We can table the minutes till later in the meeting. Okay? Can we do that? We can do that? Yes. Yes. All right. So next on the agenda, as we table this, next on the agenda, I would like to bring up Ms. Sherry Snipes, our managing partner and director for NOMA.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I am thrilled to be here. I came on board with NOMA about 2 months ago. 2 hours ago, literally. But I'm really happy to be here. You know, many of you may know me from my AIA days, and I'm just thrilled to be back with the architecture profession and with my absolute favorite organization. So I am looking forward to working with all of you over the next few months and hopefully few years to really help push the organization forward. But I'm going to be brief. I know we have a long agenda this morning, so hopefully you all have lots of coffee. I'd like to start off by thanking our sponsors, particularly our diamond and gold and bronze sponsors, as well as all of our many, many corporate sponsors and exhibitors. This has been a stellar year in terms of the support that we're receiving from our corporate sponsors, as well as the many colleges and universities across the country. It almost feels like it went viral over the last couple of months, because every few days, even the last week, someone new says, oh my gosh, I need to register as an exhibitor. So please support the grad fair and corporate fair upstairs today. Make a point to go up there and support all the great organizations that are supporting us, because without them, we could not do this. I want to particularly thank Perkins & Will and Gensler, our diamond sponsors. At Perkins & Will, I'd like to thank Gabrielle Bullock, FAIA, and NOMA. So Gabrielle, if you're in the room, I'd like to thank you for your continued support of the organization. There's Gabrielle over there. She is absolutely amazing, as is Perkins & Will. I'd also like to thank Gensler, another diamond sponsor, and is Barbara Buza, FAIA? There's Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Thank you so much for your support. And I'd like to thank AIA National, a continued supporter of NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects, and is Bill Bates in the room. Bill Bates is First Vice President of AIA. Okay, so Bill is out here. Bill was here yesterday, and I believe Bill also participated in the Community Service Project. But it's very exciting that Bill is first vice president for the American Institute of Architects. And I'd also like to thank the AIA Director of Diversity, I believe it's the Managing Director of Diversity and Emerging Professionals, Mr. Damon Leverett. Is Damon in the room? Well, they will be upstairs at the corporate fair and graduate fair later, so please stop by and say hello. And tell Damon Sherry said hello. He's my former boss at AIA. With that said, thank you to our sponsors. Please give them a round of applause because they truly have come through for us this year. Very briefly, I'm just going to give a membership report, and you will receive more updates on this throughout the course of the morning. As of about 2 days ago, we are at 868 members for 2017. That is an increase over 2016 of almost 100 members. We were at 777 last year. Yes, that's definitely worthy of applause. And we are pushing hard for that 1,000 number. So I think I heard Brian say we're looking at 1,000. So hopefully next year we can say over 1,000. So that's our goal. And we need everybody to bring your people to the table. Administratively, I just want to say that there's a few areas of focus going forward as I continue to learn the organization and the processes. Very important as I've met with the leadership team, with Brian and Kim and various committee heads, that we agreed to focus on communication going forward, communication from a leadership standpoint, but also communication towards our members to ensure that we are providing service to our members. We know there's opportunities to tighten up some processes, and we are aware of many of those. I encourage you to email executive@noma.net with any, I'm going to say, opportunities for improvement that you have. I've heard many already, which is great. So continue to bring those forward to our attention, and we'll work to work with you to fix any challenges that you have been experiencing. Additionally, process improvements are very important to what we're doing, so that's a critical focus over the next couple of months as well, and clearly as we go forward. But we know there are some things that we need to do to strengthen the foundation for the organization so that we can better service our members and continue to increase the pipeline into the profession. And one of those things is also to focus on continued funding for programs. That's why our sponsors are so important. So we are also looking at some grant opportunities as we move forward to support programs such as Project Pipeline. And I think that I've talked enough for this morning, so I look forward to meeting those of you that I have not met yet, as well as continuing to reconnect with those of you that I've talked to and spoken with in the past. So thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Lewis. Is Lewis Fisher in the house? Okay, we will come back to Lewis. So next on the agenda will be me giving a report on what's been going on this year.
Lewis here.
Oh, is it? Oh. Come on up, Lewis.
Computer. In the back. He's got it in the back.
You need a flag, yeah.
Here, you go. It's gonna take a time to get started.
Okay. So, good morning again.
Morning.
Terry, all that hard work you did hyping up this room, went back to sleep. I guess breakfast is good. The itis is setting in. We got a long day, y'all. Come on, wake it up, wake it up. So, we'll keep the soundtrack short. So, friends, family, colleagues, thank you for coming to Houston this year. It's been a long year. It's been an interesting year. Houston has gone through a lot. Personal loss of some close friends that worked on the board, property damage. Some of the members have been displaced from their homes. So I would like if everybody could stand up and give a round of applause for this team putting this conference on in spite of everything that's going on. Blood's flowing, you're good. Let's see if I can get y'all to stand up and clap again. But so I'd also like to thank Mayor Turner for opening up this beautiful city to us. And even though he's an alpha, I guess they did start the whole thing, so I'll acknowledge that. The blue came and we were the best when we showed up. You know. And Terry, if you can let the mayor know if NOMA can be a resource moving forward with any more recovery, any more of the jobs that are going to be coming that you'll share with. If Houston is as big as they say it is, there's going to be plenty of work for everybody in this room. So, but it was definitely a pleasure. I came in a couple of days early. I usually do to work with the service project, and this year was particularly important because Harvey had just left, and with Harvey showing up, that kind of made people nervous if we were going to still have the conference, if Houston was going to be in any condition to host us. And as you can see, if you don't pay attention to the news, even though there is damage, Houston's still up and running. And like he said, still helping other cities in need or countries in need. So I'm glad that I was here. The community service project, where's Wardell? So Wardell Ross with Moody Nolan Group, along with Rebuild Together Houston, identified a home. It's in North Houston? Yeah. A 94-year-old young woman who was displaced with standing water. So I think it was a group of about 30 of us. Volunteers came in on Wednesday morning to do mold remediation, rip out drywall, treat studs, package everything up so that it could be hauled away. And you know, the thing about NOMA that's always stood out to me is we're servants. I mean, we're all professional. I don't want to be architects, but we're here to serve. And so it was choked up a little bit, but it was just like, you know, I could think about my mom being in need. And so this lady is somebody's mom, grandmother. We were able to help out. So if anybody is in the room that was out there on Wednesday, could you please stand? Again, this is what this organization is about. It's, you know, getting involved. We're a small group. We plan on hitting 1,000 next year. We've been around close to 50 years, but there's stuff that we still need to do. There's things that we still need to grow with. So I'll hit on a few points, but when the treasurer talks, when membership chair talks, Sherry already put up some things. We'll just go over a couple items that I wanted to see happen. one of which is I'm all about mentoring. The way that I was brought into the organization was an opportunity to help at a conference in '94. I've been hooked since. But being involved in that conference led me to meet great architects, get job opportunities, get mentoring to get out of college, pass the exam, start my own firm, and stand before you today as president. So for all of you guys that were there along the way and that are still there, thank you. One of my goals for the last couple of years was to acknowledge our founders. So we're in the middle of what I would call our founders conference tour. So last year we were in LA, acknowledging Harold Williams, who's a founder and from Los Angeles. This year we're in Houston. The late John Chase he was a man, trailblazer, first of a lot of things. So we're here to acknowledge him. Next year we're going to be in Chicago. My boss, my mentor, my architectural dad, Wendell Campbell. So we're going to host a great conference, a great party. There's one living founder that's left, and as you would have it, he's a server. He's currently taking care of his wife. But Jay Johnson is our last living founder of the original 12 African-American men that came together and started this group. So it's my aim and my hope that we can be in New York in 2019 to give this man his flowers while he's still with us. So we're going to work on that. In regards to mentoring, I also wear a hat with the NAACP Chicago Southside branch, which is one of the oldest branches in the country. They have a program called ACSO. ACSO is an acronym for Afro-American Academic, Cultural, Technological, Scientific Olympics. That was a lot of words, so we just say ACSO. But with that, I wanted to start a scholarship program where what we do is the national medalist, there are 32 categories, architecture is one. Mr. Leon Bridges Sr. is here. He served as a judge and mentor over the years, so I'm following him. But it's all about exposure. And this scholarship has been in place for 2 years. The first winner has not been able to attend as of yet, but it's money set aside by the organization to bring a high school student that's a winner to the conference. Is Nina Crosby in the room? So if you haven't met her, Nina is our 2017 recipient. She is a young lady, high school student that's advancing senior. She's from Maryland. She won the gold medal this summer, and she is on a path to be the next Gabrielle Bullock. This young lady, we'll make sure that everybody in this room meets her. And if we don't see her at the breakfast, we'll try to acknowledge her tomorrow night at the dinner. But it's all about our future and investing in them. So she's here to learn about colleges, learn about offices. There's a bunch of dynamic women architects in this room that she needs to meet if she hasn't already met you. So going forward, I would like to see if we can wind up bringing the gold, the silver, and the bronze medalists to our national conferences. Again, just to expose them to what this organization is about. So the other thing is, in regards to mentoring, I think we're in the 10th year of our National Project Pipeline Architecture Camp. And for the first time in the history of the organization, is Oswald Ortego here? Stand, brother. So we're in our 10th year. We started the camp in Chicago 5 years ago with maybe six students, 10 students, and then maybe another 8 in 3 years. Oswaldo came on board as the vice president. He's the current president of NOMA. He came on board, and the current president was like, Oz, we got this camp. Can you do something with it? So that first year, he took over as the chair for the camp. I think we signed up 75 students. Excuse me. which is at the time one of the largest camps in the country. I think New Orleans was probably the top at that point. But this year, he Oz likes bigger and better, and so I'm proud to know this man. This year, through an opportunity with the Equity Fund, which is a client of Gensler, Oswaldo was able to secure a $100,000 grant that was processed by the foundation. To serve our pipeline camp. You can sit down, Oz. And so this year, we signed up 147 students.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
We're looking to grow this program around the country. We expanded the capacity where not only is it a 5-day camp, but it's also a design build program with high school students that age out of the pipeline process. So these are the things that I want to see this organization do. That's what's dear to me. We're making strides, and I want to keep moving forward. So what I would also like to do is we have standing MOUs with several of our partners. We're currently working with the AIA to renegotiate our upcoming MOU. They've allowed us to make a lot of strides in the last 9 years, and we're looking to go even higher. So if MJ Calloway, is she in the room? I know Damon's upstairs. MJ, please stand just so people can see who our partner is. Thank you, MJ. NCARB is, everybody knows NCARB if you want to be licensed. You got to go through them. But, you know, part of serving is being at the table. Being at the table allows you to help make decisions as opposed to have decisions made for you. So we have a standing MOU with NCARB, and going forward, we're looking to see how we can get folks on state registration boards that look like us that can help in that process. So I have a meeting scheduled November 9th in DC to discuss just that. Maurice Brown was not available. He's my contact. Is Harry Falconer here?
Yep, he's in the back.
Harry. Thank you for coming. We're looking forward to doing more work with you guys. More importantly, for our students, this is where the pipeline starts for professions. We have a relationship with the ASCA. Kendall Nicholson, are you available? Are you here? Or is he upstairs?
He might be upstairs.
So ASCA, I don't get the acronym, but basically they're the governing board for all the universities with architecture programs in the country. So again, letting students know about this family, this organization called NOMA, being in partnership with them, getting our brief out for the student design competition, looking at opportunities to get more people of color on campuses to teach, to relate to our students. That's where that relationship is. That's what we're trying to work on. The American Indian Society of Architects and Engineers, one of the most underrepresented groups in the country. Are any members here this morning? Okay. I know we have some that are going to be doing seminars, but again, it's about relationships and it's strength in numbers. The EPA is one of the groups that I'm trying to formalize the MOU with. As you can see, global warming is real, even though the red folks want to say that it's a fairy tale. Harvey will tell you otherwise. Is Carlton Elay in here? So with the EPA, we're trying to look at different ways to help our communities grow stronger. So Carlton is a good friend, and we're looking to finalize that MOU in the coming year. And then lastly, renewing our MOU with the NAACP AXO program. Again, that's a program that's near and dear to my heart, as well as Leon Bridges. It just gets us in front of our students. So it's important that the chapters meeting yesterday, I would like to see 25 architecture students competing in AXO in those cities. So that's what I'm looking for. I think that's all I got. Where the last thing is for growing our licensed architects. There's a group on Facebook that we're looking for mentors. It's the AXP group. And this was actually an offshoot of a group that we started with Catherine Williams and myself maybe back in 2006 or 7 called the ARE Hate Group. And for those of you that have got a fail letter for an MCARB saying that you're not sufficient in these areas, you probably say, I hate this test. That was how the group was started. But it's grown, changed AXP, but what it really is a platform where we can push folks to, one, get ready for the exam, take the exam, and stay with it till they pass it. So we'll acknowledge those folks a little bit later. But I want to see us to 800 licensed architects for women and 4,000 before I leave this place. Not today, but sometime in the near future. So with that, Louis, are you ready to give your report? I'll turn it over to the treasurer. Thank you.
Good morning, members, board members, and honored guests. I'm Louis Fisher. I'm going to deliver the 2017 report. Could we have the first slide up, please? Most of it is self-evident. I'm going to bring you good tidings about Is there a question? Oh, there we go. First slide. We have total assets of $783,885, which is comprised of $234,000 in our $234,000 in our operating account, $24,815 in savings, a small reserve account, and a total conference account of $135,893. Sorry. We have our UBS investment account of $364,000 and $364,924, and the accounts receivable for this year's AIA MOU of $23,500, which makes up the entire $783,885.76. Following is an overview of the NOMA activities and budget analysis through September 30th, 2017. Could you scroll down a little bit further? Our expenses for the fiscal year was $137,230. Our total income to date is $366,994. And our income exceeded expenses this year by $229,714 compared to the previous year, where income exceeded expenses by $234,527. This is $4,800 increase over the previous year, which represents an increase of about 2.1%. For the conference, through the end of September, we had total conference income of $151,382.70. We had total conference expenses of about $44,000. The projected income at the end of, could we have the next slide or scroll down, please? Projected income is expected to be $107,000 after the application of all expenses. That was through September 30th. Actually, I think we're going to be doing considerably better than that based on, and that'll be reflected in the budget projections for next year. So, again, you could scroll down a little further to operations through 9/30/17, summarizing where we are and where we've been through this quarter. We had gross income of $366,944.97, total expenses in operations of $51,382. Gross profit, therefore, is $215,562.97. For the conference through 9/30, just recapping what we said previously, we project a net income of $107,191.63 as of September 30th. At the first board meeting, I reviewed my objectives and initiatives for the year. I'm going to report now on where we are on those objectives. To support the Houston conference is objective number one, and I think we have been doing everything we can to keep the wheels rolling in Houston. As board members, we need to update and keep our conflict of interest forms up to date. We've been doing that. Monitoring and preparing a budget, which is in progress. We'll talk a little bit more about the various components of the budget. The budget was presented in a preliminary form for information at the board meeting on Wednesday morning. And these are the main things that we talked about. Obviously, they still need to be discussed and finalized and adopted before 2018. Our projected membership growth, we projected a growth of 10% since we are currently at 802. I'm sorry, and isn't it, it's 820. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. That number should be 820. So we would project an increase of 82, which would take it to 902. Our membership dues projection, therefore, would go up accordingly to $122,475 with no changes in the membership rate structure. Our advertising and sales, there's no change projected for that. Conference attendees increase projection was for 15%. This year it was 500. Next year in Chicago, we expect really more than, we're being conservative at 575, we believe. Over the last several years, our projections, our actual attendance has gone considerably higher than our budgeted projections. So we feel confident in those numbers. The conference income projection, therefore, will be 46% increase over the prior year, which we were projecting $340,000 of income. The total income combined with operating and conference will be $350,000, which represents a 45% increase over what we did last year. Expenses are projected only to increase by 26%, and our proposed budget profit, therefore, will be considerably higher at 83%. We had a management change, and we need to continue to deal with recovering and monitoring and having our audit conducted and having our books updated. Our investment portfolio, last year we had zero in an investment fund. Now we initiated and funded the investment portfolio. This year at $350,000, I think it was in February. So far, the income has been $14,000 net after expenses. In the last three quarters, or the last quarter, it was about $4,000 increase net of all expenses. So, as I said previously, we have a considerable amount in the QBS Quadrant Wealth Partners Fund. That is a fairly conservative fund. I wasn't involved in setting up the investment strategy, but it's fairly conservative, obviously, because we want to preserve capital. Dues payments. I'm going to skip over the MOU because that's in process and the president is dealing with that. But membership payments, as you know, have always been a problem. We're trying to improve that. Yesterday, we had a meeting among the chapter presidents and discussed things we would like to do to improve and expedite and standardize the process. So I'm making an appeal here to everyone who I haven't heard from. It's a new year. I'd like to, for example, new chapters are being put in place, and we need to make sure we have two things: the bank mailing address that your chapter uses, so I can have that, and also the name and telephone number of the person responsible for picking up the checks. As I said, I'm going to mention that we had a relationship with a management group that was concluded on the 4th of August of this year. And that essentially is the conclusion of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. This is a business meeting, so we must go over our financials, okay? Amen? Amen. Amen. Sometimes people say it's dry, it's not quite sure where it's going. It means that we are good financially. We got to make sure that we let the public, let all of you as our members know that we are good financially. The money right. The money is right. That's what you want to know. That's what you get from all of that the money is right. All right? Amen. One of the things that makes NOMA powerful, that makes NOMA the family that we are, is because of strong relationships that we have established over the years. There have been several of our partner organizations that have been stellar and part of that establishment, part of that strength. Additionally, we've been able to develop quite a few strong relationships with our architectural partners. One of those right now, we're going to have our good friend, Barbara Bouza, from the LA office of Gensler. Barbara, come on up. As she makes her way, Gensler, as well as Perkins & Will, plus Genesis Planning, are our diamond sponsors for the Houston Conference, so we thank them tremendously for their support. For Chicago, we're looking for continued support in those capacities, and we look forward to it again. Amen.
All right, thank you so much. I've got a few slides. I'm just going to talk really briefly, but I'm really humbled and honored to be here today. I think it's so terrific to look at the number of people that did show up. I was speaking with a client a few weeks ago. Actually, we do a lot of work with NASA out in LA, and I mentioned, God, doesn't the city of Houston have so much to deal with right now? The last thing I would think they would need to do is hosting all of us. But they said, you know what? No, it is open for business. It is important, and that's where the support is so important. So I really appreciate all of you showing up. I think it's important. I really want to thank the Houston chapter of NOMA, the city of Houston, for really being such gracious hosts and welcoming us with so much that you have going on. Now I'm kind of experiencing it in California with our own fires going on, but the fact that that doesn't stop you from being really, really fantastic hosts. So really, really thank you so much, so much. So I guess they're gonna move my slides for me. So, I think what I really wanted to talk about here was this opportunity where we can imagine the possibilities. I think, we've got a room full of professionals who have been in the business a long time, students, and as we're seeing what's going on in our communities, we have the opportunity. I just really wanted to make a nod to many of my colleagues who've really stepped forward and really creating leadership, working with students and working in the communities. So just a little, again, Barbara Bouza with Gensler. So I'm managing director and partner for our Los Angeles office. So we've got offices around the globe, so we see ourselves really as a global design firm. But I think that's important because what it does is it is really bringing that diversity. It's really looking at different ways we work. That happens to be an image of the office in LA. So I know the LA chapter hosted the conference last year, but anytime any of you are in LA, please don't even hesitate. Give me a call, email me. I'd love to host you for coffee or to see our office. So it's definitely, it's on a ground floor space, so it's really open to anyone. And we're actually down the street from Perkins Will. So I see Gabrielle over there. I know she's got a few knots today, but she's my sister in crime in LA. So you go to the next one. Thank you. So, one thing just really briefly I want to inspire you about is really how we look at, diversity is one of those words like innovation, right? It gets used so much. But I think what's core to, at least when I joined Genzer and the work, was to really look at it also as a diversity of practice, because what that begins to do is bring other types of leadership opportunities. So in my case, really looking at the end of the day, the core of what I want to do is, at the end of the day, it's about human well-being. And so how we look at that from whether it's a healthcare perspective, as a workplace perspective, even as we travel, that's where it all comes together. So I think we always want to look at that from the human perspective of design. Okay. And then this is not really a new stat. I know many of you have seen it, and I like to share it, and I share it a lot in our firm just as a grounding. For many as as licensed architect, there's 105,000 licensed architects in the U.S., and of African American women, we don't even make up a 1%. I think we're still at the 0.3, 0.4% if we're lucky. And so I think that's a stat that, it could be discouraging, or could say, God, I don't even make up 1% of my profession. But I think it's also a reminder that there is so much potential, but it also is a reminder that we've got to keep looking at the pipeline. Where are the opportunities? And I really, truly believe there are opportunities out there. It's just a matter of what we choose to do with them. And so, for example, I loved hearing some of the programs that we're talking about with the students. One thing I'm really proud of is our diversity scholarship program. Here are two students that were awarded this year. Ferry actually ended up interning in the Los Angeles office. But, at the end of the day, it's really about finding untapped talent. There's so much great talent out there, and if the opportunities aren't there, so what we want to do is with the scholarship, make sure the doors are open. So it's a broader outreach, work a lot with all the universities. So any students out there, definitely consider applying. And then many of the students definitely come on to work with us or work with many of the other really great firms that are supported around the country. But I think even before that, we even have to look at the high school, because I think when you see that 0.3% or any of them, sometimes people don't realize architecture is an option of a profession. So I really, really want to, I would say this is who I want to work for someday. So I feel like my job as a servant is to really sort of, how do we grow that talent, and how do we make those opportunities? And so really quickly, I think, again, when we look at opportunities, again, my favorite word, because I think they're out there, it's what we choose. It's really about looking in the community. We did a lot of work with the Martin Luther King Medical Center and the master plan, and really started to look at how we integrated the community into the process of architecture. They had a very much say in terms of what were the needs. And so even though it was a healthcare campus, many of the needs in the community were about how do we grow jobs, how do we look at safety in our community. Again, cultural resilience. This is a project in the Port of Los Angeles for All to See, and it's an incubator for how we're starting to look at, we're all next to these bodies of water. How do we begin to look at, is there a way to change the ocean water into potable water? How do we start looking at other innovations? And so as we're seeing what's going on in our communities with various disasters, are we being proactive? So I think as architects here, we don't need to wait until the RFP comes out and we're competing against 7 firms. What are those areas that we can sort of take the initiative and move forward? So that's what that project really represents. And then I think I've got one more. And then at the end of the day, it's really about that shared experience. Looking at sort of a cross mix of type of work, cities, whether it's sort of looking at kind of autonomous vehicles, or how do we engage circulation? How do we begin to position ourselves to the future? It's incredibly important. And I've got one more slide. And at the end of the day, what's so great about a conference like this, it is about building relationships. I'm so looking forward to making a lot of new friends, see old friends. This happens to be a bridge that we recently built in our office downtown. And what we found is we were in 2 locations, and what what we found was, you know what, we're starting to be disconnected. And so this bridge, which we built in downtown, connecting a high-rise to our office space, has been transformational in terms of work. And the simple piece that what it did was it was able for us to build connections and build relationships. So thank you so much for giving me a few minutes. Really, really happy to be here. Thank you.
So there's a little bit more business to take care of. The treasurer's report with corrections. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report? It's been properly moved and second. Any questions? If there are no questions, call to vote. All in favor? Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I'd like to bring Kim Dowdell, First Vice President. Is she behind me? Okay, so where'd Kim go? Hello. To get on with the next part of our agenda.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We've been sitting for a while. Can I just ask everyone to stand up and like stretch a little bit? I know we've been here for a little bit, and we've got a little bit of the agenda left, so I just wanted to invite you to just kind of stretch your legs a little bit. So I want to thank Barbara for coming up and sort of sharing some of the statistics that surround our profession, particularly as one of the 0.3% of African-American licensed architects. That number really resonates, and in fact, it used to be 0.2%, so we're making some progress, but there's a lot more progress to be made. And just from a practical standpoint, I'm doing work in Detroit, as an architect and a developer in the sort of revitalization space, and I'm constantly asked about my credentials, which is really annoying, actually. It's like, what is it that makes you qualify? Whereas like my male colleagues, no one ever asks them that question. I'm like, well, I'm a licensed architect, and then people like have to, that's obviously like end of the conversation. So, and I think that it's important that our professional, or that our students know how important it is to become licensed. And I think that it's one of those things that really just takes you to the next level in the profession. It really legitimizes you as an architect. It's not like you're just interested in design, or you studied architecture, you're a licensed architect. That kind of really puts like the dot on what you've done. So I would like to first acknowledge the students. Can all the students just tell us who you are, or not tell us who you are, but stand up so we can see you here in this space, all of our students. Okay? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now, how many people, by standing up, are actually in the process of taking the ARE right now? Who's sort of in the pipeline? So if you could stand up. Okay, so these people need lots of support for these people, definitely. So I challenge everyone, particularly those who are licensed, to find these folks throughout the conference and really encourage them, be a support system to them, join the Facebook group where we're really, providing resources to those folks. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of the conference. How many people here, by standing up, have actually earned their license within the last year? Or if you haven't been acknowledged yet for earning your license, could you please stand up? Okay. Okay, so beyond standing up, could you actually come to the dais here? Well, you're already here, so just come on over. We would like to officially pin you as licensed architects, and so sis, come around and acknowledge that amazing accomplishment. So I think they deserve a standing ovation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, take picture. Inside. Okay. Yep.
That's nice. Thanks.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, do we have any members here who have become, who've been elevated to fellowship in the American Institute of Architects? Anyone? Or, okay. Thank you. Oh, that's great. So for those who didn't hear, he was elevated to the as an honorary fellow in the Royal Institute of Canadian Architects. Is that correct? All right. Congratulations. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Hashtag NOMA.
Yes. So throughout the rest of the conference, we want all of our social media savvy people, everybody under 40, no, all of our social media people to continue to promote the conference, hashtag NOMACon17. So while you're in seminars, while you're at the expo, while you are listening to the grad fair, while you are out and about with your friends and colleagues, and you are doing your Facebooking and your Snapchatting and your face matching or whatever it is nowadays, hashtag NOMACon17, okay? With that, I also want to bring up my good friend and colleague, Pascal.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here in Houston, so thank you so much for having me. Can you pull up the slides for me, please? Okay, a few announcements that I want to share with you as the NOMA historian of 2017. We launched a Vimeo page, vimeo.com/NOMA National. Here we've been uploading videos from your local chapters, speaking engagements, lectures that we can put up and become a digital database and platform for elevating you all and all the greatness you're doing, as well as being a resource for one another. So I highly recommend that you go onto the Vimeo page and also to share with me any videos that you know that is of importance of our founders, our leadership, you, anything, please feel free to email it to me at historian@noma.net. And on the right-hand side is the list of the videos that I have so far that I'm starting to put up and into the Vimeo page. Next slide. The other great thing that we initiated this year is having a NOMA conference mini exhibit, where we want to elevate and kind of express the gratitude to those who got awards and were winners last year. So showing their faces and their plaques and their accomplishments, as well as remembering those who've passed, our leaders and our trailblazers of our organization. Next slide. As well as displaying our work and those projects that are awarded. Here are them on display right outside by the registration table, by breakfast table. You will find a lot of the work of our members up there that won the awards last year. So please take some time to go over to that area, look at their work, find them, congratulate them, and really make them feel proud for the great work that they're doing and their talents. Also in that area, next slide, please. Also in that area, we have these cards say, share your news with us. So if you have any awards, publications, articles, speaking engagements, exhibitions, anything great new projects that you've been awarded, please, please, please share it with us as well. You can either fill out the cards that are out there, or again, you can email me. I would take that information and again, try to elevate it to make it out there into the profession. Next slide. And then a really great moment that we were able to do this year is partner with the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. We're helping collect some information, artifacts, elements that nod to two parts. One, very prolific and historic minority architects of Washington, D.C., to do a Say It Loud D.C. ultimately, and two, the founding of NOMA. So the idea is that we're starting to collect help the museum curator, Michelle Wilkinson, which I believe is here. If she's here, please stand. Thank you, Michelle. She will also be with me at the mini NOMA exhibit out there to answer questions about the artifacts that we're looking for to collect to be part of their permanent collection database. And once we get something great, maybe hopefully in the future we can have an exhibit. But step one is to really collect any information, photographs, vintage books, anything that's unique, to please help us gather that information, as well as NOMA is trying to also pull that information together. So if you know of anything, please share, and feel free to come talk to us. We'll be there. Michelle will be there from now after this breakfast to noon, and I'll be there all day. Next slide. Also part of that corner, we're actually doing some video testimonials. So we've been invited to participate in 2 ways of gathering documentation. One is for the Advocacy, Activism, and Alliances in American Architecture exhibit. And as part of that, they want to exhibit people, not necessarily just their work, and what they've contributed to the profession. So what we want to do is take the opportunity with Joe Avery to videotape anyone who's willing and ask you 3 questions. Why did you become an architect? What has been your experience as a minority architect? And how has NOMA impacted your career and your life? These are the questions. So if you have a story, a unique opportunity to share it with us, we would love to document you and have that A as part of our Vimeo page. B, potentially enter the archives of both the NOMA archives as well as the Smithsonian's archive. So these are the 2 reasons that there's the camera crew, and we'll be out there all day hoping to see you and to hear your stories. And from that, I take those informations, I make a PR report, and I circulate that to publications, editors, curators, blog writers, to again try to elevate the profile of you all as NOMA members and the great work that you're doing into our greater profession, okay? Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's actually very good to see you again this year. I am Erasmus Ipembe, your parliamentarian.
I'm Angela King, your membership chair.
All right, and at this moment, we'd like to recognize our newly chartered NOMA chapters. All right, I would ask that please the president and potentially any other member to come to the stage. Everyone doesn't have to come, but other members just please stand. All right, first, I'd like to recognize Baltimore NOMA, to be presently known as Be More NOMA. Is anyone here? Yeah, please come up. All right. Also, at this time, we'd like to recognize a chapter that was formed last year, which never received a charter. So we'd like to bring forth the Minnesota St. Paul Assembly of Architects.
Uh-oh.
They paying for that. They paying for it.
All right, one more. And finally, even though they're not a chartered chapter, they are still in the process, but I'd like to recognize, and I would ask them to please stand here. We have the proposed NOMA Arizona chapter. All right, we expect them to be online before the end of the year. All right. I guess at this time, it's all about the election. All right. The Executive Committee of the National Organization of Minority Architects is pleased to present the following slate of candidates whom are up for election for the 2018-2019 NOMA Board of Directors. When I call your name, can you please stand? For Vice President, Northeast, we have Pascal Sablon, NOMA, AIA, Lead AP. Also for the position of Vice President, Northeast, Carol Smith, AIA, NOMA, Lead BDC. All right, I guess she's not here at this moment. For Vice President of the South, Nakia Strong and Carb NOMA. All right, and for the position of parliamentarian, yeah, it's a difficult word, Erasmus Ipembe, NOMA, RA, myself. Okay. At this moment, I would like to accept nominations from the floor, if we have any. Okay. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you very much. It is carried. Just a few other closing items. Please note that the eligibility to vote will only be granted to professional and intern paid 27 members, both local and national, who did so by September 30th, 2017. Elections will begin approximately 1 hour after the close of today's business meeting. Ballots will be emailed to addresses on file, and the election shall be open for 24 hours and conducted electronically. Also, there will be a kiosk station set up by the registration desk, which I will man to encourage people to vote, so I'm going to bother you. And that will be open from noon to 3 p.m. I'd like to thank you. Have a good day.
My last duty for the day. I'd like to entertain a motion from the floor to adjourn the business meeting for 2017. It's been moved and probably seconded. Call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Bet not. Motion carries. Before we get out of here and get to our seminars, Antoine is going to do a few things, a few announcements, housekeeping. So, Mr. Bryant, Conference Chair 2017, Houston, the mic is yours. Thank you.
So, wanted to let you know that, first of all, the opening of our exhibit hall will begin at 10 a.m. So just in a couple of minutes, you'll be able to go right upstairs, Woodway 1 and 2, where you will find our graduate fair. So we have over 30 graduate schools represented here, as well as our corporate expo. So please stop by, see all of our vendors that are there, both vendors that are suppliers, as well as firms. To encourage all of you to make sure you get up there, we have a raffle. And some of the items that will be available for that raffle will be 2 Apple Watches, We also have a drone. We have a virtual reality thing. I don't even know how that works, but it's one of them virtual reality things. And there's about 4 or 5 other items with a total prize value, cash value of $2,500. Yes, so we do want you guys to make sure you get up there. Now, we will have registration forms like this for the expo that'll be at the registration table. We ask that upon speaking to the graduate advisors or to your corporate entities, that you ask them to initial and make sure you listen to them when they talk. Don't just ask them to initial, walk away, and then pick it up, okay? There are wonderful people over there that came with their time to partake with us, and so we do want to make this a valuable experience. Additionally, the seminars will be beginning as well. They'll be in all of these rooms right behind here in Tanglewood, Sage, and San Felipe, so they're all right behind you as well. Additionally, I want to make notice of everyone that the graduate fair, we have up to, I think it's 8 or 10 schools represented on a graduate panel that will begin at 1 p.m. So those of you that are seeking to go back to graduate school, you'll be able to ask questions directly at a graduate panel. So we look forward to that as well. With that, we want to thank you guys for coming to our business breakfast. Hope you have a good time. Enjoy the rest of Houston. If you have any more questions, we'll be here to address those. Yes. Oh, well, of course. The Bros Arts Ball, which is one of the features of NOMA, and we all look forward to, will begin promptly at 7 p.m. It is going to be hosted at the Astorian, which is at 2500 Summer Street. We will have buses. We will have more buses. We will have buses queued up downstairs at 6 p.m. We will have 4 buses loaded up at 6 p.m. We will leave when they're full, right? And they will be doing a loop. So we will have 4 buses and they will be looping. So we will have that. It is an opportunity. We're looking forward to it. We will have a DJ. We'll have a band. We will have AC. We will have food. We will have adult beverages as well, because I kept getting asked about that. Crystal? Okay. So yeah, so no one asked me about where the stash is. People can't, yeah, I know you got a stash. No, the stash will be at the Bros Arts Ball. So we enjoy that you have that and have a good time there. It is one of our signature events, and we look forward to it. Additionally, we are going to have the tours. The tours will be launching tomorrow. You can sign up for the tours at our registration table. We have a bus tour as well as a bike tour. And we will, just to be clear, we have a bus that will take you to the bikes. So you're not going to just ride from here and ride all the way to 3rd or 4th Ward. We know that our architects are fantastic athletes. However, we are going to limit how much you're actually on the bikes. So the buses will be queued up for that on tomorrow. That's tomorrow afternoon, beginning at 1 p.m. Will the buses leave? Okay. And so, but yes, you can get all the instructions and sign up for the tours at our registration table. We really spent a lot of time, and we want to focus on that because it'll be a great opportunity for you to really, again, get a feel for Houston. You'll be able to hear some of the music that my good friend Terry alluded to earlier as you ride through the neighborhoods. With that, if there are no more announcements, did I get everything? You know, as they used to say, we got extra food out there, so, you know, you go get you some food on the back end, and have a wonderful rest of your morning and a wonderful day. Take care, guys. You got a question for me?
Oh, what is yeah.
Okay. Guys, we have one more announcement. If you could, bear with me. Just one more. It's very important. It's actually serious. So one more announcement. What?
Is that me?
No, I'm asking. No. Say, what?
I need to tell the students to be in room 2332 at 11 a.m. for the student rep interviews.
I just, at the breakfast 2 years ago at the NOMA conference in New Orleans, there was an announcement made by President Kevin Holland about the situation that occurred with the police attacking my son. And I want you to know, and I want to, first of all, thank NOMA for that support that you all offered. There were people that called me, that wrote me, and it really meant a lot to me because it was a very emotional situation. Since then, the charges have been dropped. The record has been expunged. And with support of some NOMA members, we're going back to New Orleans next week to sue the bastards Thank you.
The last announcements, we will have interviews. Our students, all of our students, we will have interviews for the student representative position on the board of directors in room 2332 at 11 a.m. That is a full board position, so all students that are interviewed, that are interested in that, go to room 2332 for interviews. All right, guys? Thank you. Thank you.
Student rep.
Student representative. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Like the mayor has to do that.
He does well. Yeah, he does well without much notice.
Without much notice, Doc. Yeah, he's a character. That's coming out your check. That's coming out your check. Oh, Lord. Okay. Who's that? Oh, that's